It happened in Ireland. In December 2018, on a night that would change many lives, Nikita, a girl who worked at a beauty salon, went out to celebrate the Christmas party with her coworkers. What started as a normal night of celebration would transform into a case that would shake all of Ireland and the sports world. Nikita had been drinking that night, as many do at Christmas parties, when she started exchanging Instagram messages with someone she knew from her neighborhood. But this wasn't just anyone from the neighborhood. He was one of Ireland's most famous athletes, someone who had risen from the humble streets of Dublin to become a global superstar. You know what's interesting? Before this athlete became famous, his sport barely existed in Ireland. He put it on the map. Not just the sport, but he put Ireland on the radar for millions of people who couldn't even locate the country on a map. He was the neighborhood kid who made it big, who went from having nothing to having it all. Hey, before we continue with this crazy story, hit that like button and turn on notifications. Because what's coming up, wow, it'll leave you speechless. Let's continue. That night, Nikita and a friend ended up meeting him and his friend James Lawrence. They decided to continue the party at the Beacon Hotel. So far, everything seems normal, right? 4 people who know each other, partying on Christmas. But what happened next in that hotel would change the course of their lives forever. According to Nikita's testimony, when her friend and James went to another room, the famous athlete started approaching her. What followed was, according to her, a nightmare. She declared that he used his body weight to immobilize her and assaulted her. She said she feared for her life, so much so that when she got home, she was too scared to even say who had hurt her. The paramedics who attended to her that night, and this is important because it was crucial evidence in the trial, testified that they found marks on her body. One of them even declared that he hadn't seen someone so injured in a long time. All of this was recorded on the ambulance cameras. When she finally reported what happened to the police in early 2019, the case became even more complicated. During the investigation, James Lawrence declared that he had had a consensual encounter with Nikita that same night, something she says she doesn't remember at all. The prosecution decided not to press criminal charges, but Nikita didn't give up. In 2021, she filed a civil lawsuit against both men. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. The civil trial became a media spectacle in Dublin. The courtroom, which according to the BBC reporter who covered the case was so small it could barely fit 50 people, was always packed. Journalists fought for seats, and there were students skipping classes just to watch the trial. The testimonies were intense. Nikita spent several days on the stand, and according to witnesses, there were moments when she was so affected that they had to pause the trial. The doctors and paramedics who attended to her that night presented detailed evidence about the injuries they found. The athlete, for his part, also testified. Known for his explosive personality and self-confidence, he appeared surprisingly nervous on the stand. He said he was terrified of being accused of something like this. However, there were moments when he lost his composure, so much so that the judge had to call him to order. The hotel security cameras played a crucial role in the trial. They showed Nikita visibly intoxicated, sitting on the elevator floor at one point. Although they showed no signs of distress at that moment, she testified that she remembered nothing from that period. These same cameras were fundamental to James Lawrence's acquittal, as they showed an apparently normal interaction between them. After hearing all the testimonies, the jury, composed of 8 women and 4 men, retired to deliberate. 6 hours later, they reached a decision that would shake the sports world. They found the athlete liable and ordered him to pay approximately $250,000 in compensation. However, in an interesting twist, they acquitted James Lawrence of all charges. The reaction to the verdict was explosive. The athlete, who had remained silent when leaving the courthouse, exploded on social media. He called the verdict absolute nonsense and said it was a court of feelings and opinions brainwashed by the mainstream media. He promised to appeal the decision. Nikita, for her part, gave an emotional speech outside the courthouse. She said something that resonated with many people. She wanted to show her daughter and all young people that they can stand up for themselves no matter who the person is. If something happens to you, no matter who the person is, justice can be served, she declared. This case has had a huge impact in Ireland. As the BBC reporter explained, you have to understand the context. Ireland was for a long time a very conservative country, where these topics were taboo. The fact that an ordinary woman confronted one of the country's most powerful figures and won has been seen as a historic moment. The story isn't over yet. The athlete is preparing his appeal, although legal experts say he'll have to find errors in the judicial process, not just complain about public opinion. On the other hand, James Lawrence is considering filing a countersuit against Nikita. The most fascinating thing about all this is how it has divided public opinion. There are people who firmly support Nikita. There was even a protest organized in Dublin in her support, while others defend the athlete. What's undeniable is that this case has opened an important debate about power, justice, and how society handles these sensitive cases. What do you think? Can money and fame buy justice? What evidence seems most convincing to you? Leave your comments below. I love reading your opinions. And if you like this story, you know what to do, like subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. See you in the next video.